Okay, so today we will be dissecting a walleye, also known as the sander vitreus, I think is how you pronounce it. And these fish they are a bony fish. They're osteoichthyes, and they belong to the perch family. And we did a study into the yellow perch, and I think it's really cool that I have a walleye now because it should be extremely similar. So I'm going to grab the walleye, and here he is. Oh, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl yet, but hopefully we'll be able to figure that out. First things first, we'll look at the external anatomy. This fish is very slimy, and this is a feature that they have that helps them to move streamlined through the water, and it helps them evade prey that are bigger and trying to eat them and hold on to them. It also helps them osmoregulate. And they have these big eyes, and proportional to the body, they're very large. And that's because walleye are sight hunters. They use that eyesight to then find and locate prey, and they can't see well at night, so they're most active during the day, which is when we fish for them. Looking at the fins, we have the dorsal fin up top, and specifically with the walleye, they have these like sharp bones that are like spines that come through the fins. And when you're filleting them, you want to be very careful that you don't stab yourself. So we have the dorsal fin here, and then a very large adipose fin here. We have your pectoral fins right here, and your pelvic fins down here. This would be your anal fin and your caudal fin. And then the peduncle, or the muscle of the tail, is right here. Okay. Before I cut into him, I want to give you a look at the mouth, and he's kind of rigor mortis, so I'll have to pry it open. So he's got these, I don't know, it's hard to see, but he's got these large canines in the front, and he has all these sharp teeth on the bottom, and that's going to help him grip prey, and these guys are going to swallow their prey whole, so it really just helps them grip onto it and then move it down in the mouth. He's got a tongue, and his nares. I'm not very good at working the fish into the view of the camera, but his nares would be one here, and then one on the other side. Okay, so let's take our knife. Oh, and of course we have the anus right here. So we're going to start by just cutting straight down the fish and opening up its body cavity and seeing what is inside. Got to be careful with this knife because it's extremely sharp. I'll start actually at the anus. I'm trying to cut it in a way that I'm not going to rupture any of the internal organs while I cut. We'll stop there for now because there is a hard cartilage or a bone between the two of the pectoral, pelvic fins. Sorry. Okay. So just looking inside here, it's actually quite empty, and I'm realizing I'm going to have to cut this open a little bit more. You know what? Let's go for the scissors. There we go. That's what we wanted. Okay. So the first thing that we can recognize is, I need to cut a little bit farther down. I'll go ahead and remove the head because I think it'll make this dissection a little bit easier. Okay. So here now we have this darker organ right here. And I'll remove it in a second, but that right there is the liver. And it sits right behind the head. And I also forgot to mention that this gill cover right here is the operculum, and that's protecting the gills inside, which I can... Actually, I'll cut one out and show you that too. It's like most gilled fish, these guys are going to have gill rakers. These little wings that are coming off the gill, and this red filament, that's the gill filament. Something interesting that I learned about gills is that when you take a fish out of water, they can't breathe air because it's not water. They can't breathe air because their gills actually aren't spread out enough like they are in water for the oxygen to diffuse. It shrinks the surface area dramatically, so they basically suffocate. Okay. So let's go ahead and cut the liver out. Okay. And here we go. So that right there is going to be the liver of the fish. So we'll go ahead and set that off to the side right here. Okay. So we got our gill, got our liver. Let's continue on. A lot of stuff going on in here. And unfortunately, I have severed the air bladder. So you see, there's a hole right here, and that's because I've gone ahead and stabbed the air bladder, which would normally sit dorsal to all these organs. But here is the lining for that air bladder. And this is interesting right here. Very interesting. I believe that we have a male here, and I'll explain that in a second. But I believe that this is part of the reproductive organ, or the testes. But first, let's take a look at the rest of this. So if we follow from the anus, this right here is going to be, this cord is going to be the intestine. So if we follow the intestine, actually no, you know what this is? This is also part of the testes as well. It's full of like a clear liquid. And I forgot to mention that we caught these fish in the spring, so just like yesterday, and they're at their reproductive state in the year. So this is most likely a reproductive organ full of semen. So we'll go ahead and lay that out there. Okay. This is not as easy as it looks in the videos. Okay. So here, what I'm cutting now, there's a large cord going from the mouth to the rest of the body. That right there is going to be the esophagus. And then it comes down into... Oh, there's something hard in there. But this right here. Let me cut this mesoderm so you can get a better look at it. But this right here is the stomach. So we have it going from the esophagus down into the stomach here, and there's something in there which we can take a look at in a second. Oh, it's very tough. I'm surprised. Okay, so we got most of the guts out now. So here we have the stomach right there, and then we can see that the stomach then moves on through what we can call the duodenum, then on to the intestine. And the intestine is just a mess of tubes. And we got some more. Well, actually, this is also part of the liver. I kind of haphazardly tore it out, but that is also part of the liver right there. Okay, and this is interesting because look, we have the stomach here, and there's this little organ right here, and that is the pancreas, and that is what is secreting the enzymes into the duodenum right here. So that's cool. And let's continue down the digestive tract. Actually, I take that back. This right here is the pancreas. This organ right here. So that is actually something that when we were filling out diagrams, I wasn't sure what that was on the diagram, but I have it labeled as the pyloric CC or CEACI. I'm not sure how quite to pronounce that, but I believe that's actually what those lumps are right here. And I'm assuming that they have some function in monitoring when the chyme of the stomach is released into the intestine. Okay, so we have this pancreas here, and it's linked up into the duodenum right there. And we have a lot of intestine, and it's kind of convoluted. This darker organ here, 100%, that is the spleen, which is also located on the intestine, which is all of these branching organs here. The spleen is really responsible for monitoring the blood, removing blood cells, and creating blood cells in fish. So that really stands out there. That's cool. And I'll just leave it on there. So then the intestines are running all the way to the what is the anus here, and we have some large intestine running down there. So that is very interesting. I think that you learn a lot when you dissect these fish, just trying to look at the anatomy. Okay, so like I said earlier, we have the air bladder here, the swim bladder, and this is really important for these bony fish because bones are heavy, unlike the cartilaginous fish. These fish have bones, so they're going to weigh more, and they need air to be able to not sink. Sharks keep swimming because they will sink if they stop swimming. But fish have this neat feature. Okay, so let's go ahead and chop off the head. There we go. That spinal column is tough to get through, but we made it. Okay. I'm going to try and get you guys an up-close view of what's going on inside of the head. Okay. So, what we have here is the esophagus, and we should have the heart. Ooh, yeah, there. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so you can actually see, sorry for my bad camera work. I don't know how easy that is to see, but there's a lighter spot here, and a darker spot on top. That spot on the bottom would be the ventricle. And these fish have they have a one-way circulatory system. So they're going to have a ventricle on the bottom and an atrium up top. And it's really hard to see, but, oh, maybe right there. It's lighter here, darker there, and it's split. So I'm going to try and get that out, because that would be really cool if we can take a look at that. Ow. Don't put your hand in the walleye mouth. They will bite back, even when they're dead. Okay, oh, that's awesome. All right, this is exciting. Look at that. That right there is the heart. Right there. It's like, oh, that's so cool. Look at that. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. All right, so we have, I'm not looking at the camera at all. Okay, so we have the like I was saying, we have the atrium, the ventricle, and then it's hard to see, but there's a dark vein that runs right there, goes to the atrium. So that would be the sinus venosus going into the atrium, and then out of the ventricle, down, or right here, going to this other side, or down here. It's very hard to see, but we have the blood leaving the ventricle, and it's going to go through a bulb called the bulbus arteriosus. So that's very cool. And you have your two call them arteries, going out of the atrium, and you can see they're going to like either side. Those dark spots, those would be going to the two gills, which one sets here, one sets here. Okay, and then let's look at the brain. Well, actually, this right here is the brain. Oh no, sorry, that's not the brain. We need to get around that. Brain, where are you? Actually, I believe this right here might be the brain. It's very difficult to tell what is what in these fish. I might be making pudding of the brain, but okay. Trying to get a deeper look. Huh. It's really difficult on these smaller fish. So I'm trying to follow the vertebrae, and it should be. I have this layer of skin, which would be like the top of the fish's mouth. So it's really hard to tell, and I can't really find it, so I'm not gonna pretend like I see it clearly. But the brain would be somewhere in here. So we'll the brain is somewhere in here. I can't quite. It kind of blends in with all the other bloody mess. So okay. The last thing that I want to look at the fish's anatomy inside the body cavity, and then we'll cut open that stomach, is, let me get this swim bladder out of the way, is the kidney. So the kidney is weird in fish, and my dad didn't believe me the first time I told him, but the kidney is back here. You see how this area is darker? Well, actually, if we cut that open, we will be able to see the kidney. And it's not in kidney shaped like the human kidney. It's not that kidney bean that we're all used to seeing. It looks completely different. Completely different. And as I continue to peel this back, you'll begin to see the darker matter underneath. And it's very thin too. so I'm not really going to be able to just pull it out. One cannot pull the kidney of a fish out. Okay, so it's really hard to see, but underneath this membrane of the air bladder, we have the kidneys, and they're actually very small in the walleye, but they're just kind of lining this bottom part next to the vertebral column, and this is what is going to help them filter through their blood and excrete wastes ammonia for fish. So this helps them remove ammonia from their blood, and then it is transferred down the kidney to a ureter, which would be connected to the anus down here. Oh, you cannot see that at all. It's one of these protrusions down here, and it's really hard to tell what is reproductive tubing and what is urinary tubing, I will be honest. So I'm assuming what we have here, this white stuff, that is the testes, so the sperm sits in there, and then you have one of these tubes. Maybe this one is the ureter, and then we have the urinary bladder somewhere in there. But I'm not an expert, so I'm not sure exactly which is which. But I know they're there. Biology tells me so. Okay, so let's cut open the stomach, and then we can call this a video. So we have the stomach here. Honestly, I wasn't expecting anything to be in the stomach because this was their spawning season. So maybe like a small fish. That's my guess. And these are not the best of scissors. Oh, is that tail? Oh yeah, that's a little fish. Oh yeah. Okay, so look at this. This is neat. I'm trying not to break it. So this indeed is a little oh, no way. You know what this is? This is, I didn't even know they had these. This is like a shrimp. So you see its eyes, and this is in the Columbia River that we caught this fish. So you see the eyes, and it's got the curled up body, and I can tell it's a shrimp because if you look here, it has these cross section like stripes, and those are the segments of a shrimp. No way. I don't know if this is a freshwater. I assume it's a freshwater shrimp because the water is fresh. I did not even know that these were I didn't even know that these were a species that lived in fresh water. That is so cool. I've never seen that before. Well, when you dissect stuff, you learn. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for sticking with me while I did my first dissection ever. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.